So, Olivia's still doodling for a living? Uncle Robert's booming voice carried across our family's annual business meeting. The mahogany-paneled conference room at Bennett Industries headquarters echoed with polite chuckles. I sat at the far end of the table mentally counting the zeros in my latest contract while they laughed. 5 years of building my design agency from scratch, and they still saw me as the family disappointment. The art school graduate who refused to join the real business world. Actually, it's brand strategy and digital design now, I corrected, keeping my voice level. My agency's doing quite well. Oh, honey, Aunt Patricia patted my hand condescendingly. We know you make those cute little logos for coffee shops. But today we're discussing serious business. If only they knew about the confidentiality agreement I'd signed last week. The one that would change everything. My cousin Marcus, newly appointed VP of Marketing, stood up to begin his presentation. Today, I'm excited to share our company's complete rebranding strategy. This pitch is worth potentially $50 million in new contracts. I pulled out my tablet pretending to take notes while hiding my smile. 3 months ago, Marcus's team had approached several top design agencies for this rebranding project. They'd used a blind selection process to avoid bias. The companies were identified only by numbers, not names. The future of Bennett Industries lies in innovation, Marcus continued, clicking to his first slide. We need to shed our old-fashioned image and emerge as a modern, dynamic force in the market. The room fell silent as the presentation began. I watched their faces carefully, waiting for the moment of recognition. Our new brand identity was created by one of the top design firms in the country, Marcus announced proudly. They've worked with Silicon Valley giants, transformed startups into household names, and now they're going to revolutionize Bennett Industries. The first slide appeared, showcasing a sleek, modern logo design. My logo design. Created by Studio Nova, my company. Dad leaned forward, squinting at the design. It's different. Very modern. Exactly. Marcus beamed. Wait until you see the full brand package. The agency absolutely nailed our vision. I watched as he flipped through slide after slide of my work. The dynamic typography I'd spent weeks perfecting. The color palette that had kept me up for nights. The brand architecture that my team had meticulously crafted. The best part, Marcus continued, is that this agency's track record is incredible. Their last 3 rebrands resulted in average market value increases of 40% for their clients. Uncle Robert, our CEO, nodded approvingly. What's the agency's name? We should have them here for the next meeting. Marcus clicked to the final slide. They're called Studio Nova, and they're actually... The room froze as my company logo filled the screen. Several heads swiveled toward me, jaws dropping in unison. One of the fastest-growing design agencies in the country, Marcus finished weakly, finally making the connection. Uncle Robert's face turned an interesting shade of red. This is some kind of joke. No joke, I said, standing up and walking to the front of the room. Studio Nova is my company. We won your blind pitch because we were the best, not because we're family. Impossible, Aunt Patricia whispered. I pulled up our company portfolio on the main screen. Studio Nova. Founded 5 years ago. Current annual revenue, $12 million. Clients include 3 Fortune 500 companies and numerous tech startups. Our recent rebrand for Tech Fusion resulted in a 60% increase in market value within 6 months. But you just make logos, Cousin Emma stuttered. We create comprehensive brand strategies that drive market growth, I corrected. Those cute little logos you mocked? They're part of sophisticated marketing ecosystems that have transformed companies across the globe. Dad stood up slowly. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have listened? I asked quietly. 5 years ago, when I declined the junior marketing position here, you all said I was throwing my life away. When I won my first major client, you were too busy celebrating Marcus's promotion to hear about it. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Marcus stood frozen by the presentation screen, his earlier confidence evaporated. Uncle Robert kept opening and closing his mouth like a fish out of water, while Aunt Patricia clutched her designer pearls. My phone buzzed. A message from my creative director, Maya. Google just confirmed. They want the full package. Contract value, $15 million. Perfect timing. Since we're all here, I said, taking control of the presentation, let me show you exactly what Studio Nova is capable of. I connected my tablet to the display. This is our current client portfolio. The screen filled with instantly recognizable logos, brands that made Uncle Robert's eyes widen and Aunt Patricia's grip on her pearls tighten. That's impossible, Marcus whispered. These are billion-dollar companies. Yes, they are, I confirmed, swiping through project after project. And they all chose Studio Nova because we don't just design logos, we transform businesses. Dad leaned forward. The TechFusion rebrand. That was you? The same rebrand that increased their stock price by 60%? Yes. I pulled up their before and after metrics. We didn't just change their look. We repositioned their entire market presence. But your office? Aunt Patricia interjected. Last year at Christmas, you said you were working from that little space downtown. I smiled. That was our old office. Would you like to see the new one? I pulled up photos of Studio Nova's headquarters. 3 floors in the city's most prestigious business district. Modern, open-plan spaces filled with creative talent. Meeting rooms buzzing with innovation. A rooftop garden where teams brainstormed under the sky. 45 full-time employees, I continued. 3 international satellite offices. A waiting list of clients that includes some of the biggest names in tech, fashion, and yes, industrial manufacturing. Uncle Robert's face had progressed from red to purple. Why are we just learning about this now? Because you never asked, I replied simply. You were all so convinced I was wasting my potential that you never bothered to see what I was building. My phone buzzed again. This time it was our financial director. Q3 projections just came in. We're up 85% from last year. Now, I turned back to the room, about Bennett Industries' rebranding project. Given the unique circumstances, I think we should discuss the contract terms. We already agreed on the price, Marcus said quickly. Yes, but that was before you knew Studio Nova was family. I smiled. Standard industry rates won't apply here. We'll need to adjust for potential conflicts of interest. Uncle Robert straightened his tie. Now see here, Olivia. Our new rate, I cut him off, will be 30% above the original quote. Plus priority scheduling fees. That's outrageous. Aunt Patricia exclaimed. Is it? I pulled up TechFusion's market performance charts. Our work increased their value by over $500 million. How much is Bennett Industries' future worth to you? Dad, who had been unusually quiet, finally spoke. She's right. We need this rebrand. And he looked around the room, clearly. We need to start paying more attention to what's happening outside our bubble. The room erupted in protests and arguments. I stood calmly at the front, watching years of dismissal and condescension crumble under the weight of undeniable success. I have another meeting in 30 minutes, I announced, gathering my things. A global tech company that values what we do. Take the day to discuss my terms. If you decide to look elsewhere, I wish you luck finding an agency with our track record. As I walked toward the door, Marcus called out, Wait. The presentation, we need. My team will send over a revised contract by this evening, I said without turning around. Standard corporate terms plus the family premium. Oh, and Marcus. I paused at the door. Those slides you've been showing? They're just the basic concepts. The real innovation hasn't even started yet. The next morning my office was buzzing with energy. News of our Bennett Industries connection had spread through the company, and my team was already brainstorming ideas that would revolutionize the staid-old firm. Maya burst into my office, tablet in hand. Olivia, you need to see this. Your family's company stocks jumped 12% just on the rumor that we're handling their rebrand. I leaned back in my ergonomic chair, taking in the view of the city from my corner office. And that's before we've even started the real work. Also, Maya smirked, your cousin Marcus has called 6 times already. And your uncle's secretary is trying to schedule an emergency family dinner tonight. Of course they are, I murmured, remembering all the family dinners I'd been excluded from because I was just a designer who wouldn't understand their important business discussions. My phone lit up with another call. Dad this time. After letting it ring several times, I answered. Hello, Dad. Olivia. His voice was different now, lacking its usual patronizing tone. We need to talk. The board. They've been reviewing Studio Nova's portfolio all morning. It's impressive doesn't begin to cover it. I know. Why didn't you ever tell me? About the success, the clients, any of it. I stood up, walking to the window. Remember my first major client? I tried to tell you at Christmas 3 years ago. You and Uncle Robert were too busy discussing Marcus's new company car. When I won the Tech Fusion contract, Mom said it was nice, and changed the subject to Emma's engagement. He was quiet for a long moment. We were wrong. All of us. We were so focused on our traditional idea of success that we couldn't see you were redefining it. Dad, I didn't build Studio Nova to prove you wrong. I built it because I saw where the future was heading while all of you were stuck in the past. Every company, every brand needs to evolve or die. That's what we do here. We help businesses transform for the digital age. Like you're going to transform Bennett Industries? If you can afford us, I smiled. Our rates just went up again this morning. Google's contract announcement caused quite a stir in the industry. Another pause. About tonight's dinner. I can't make it, I cut in. I'm flying to Silicon Valley in 2 hours. Emergency consultation with a major tech firm. Their CEO specifically requested me. But the family has my terms, I finished. The contract's on Marcus's desk. Standard rate plus family premium non-negotiable. If Bennett Industries wants Studio Nova's services, you'll need to compete with Google, Apple, and 3 other Fortune 500 companies for our time. You're really not going to give us special treatment? He sounded surprised. Special treatment? Like the kind you gave me all these years. Kept my voice level. The contract's fair, Dad. Actually, it's more than fair, considering our current market position. Maya appeared in my doorway, pointing at her watch. The jet was waiting. I have to go, I told Dad. Have Marcus call my assistant if you decide to sign. Dad, next time you're at a family gathering and some young cousin talks about their dreams, try listening. You might be surprised where it leads. As my private jet took off an hour later, my phone buzzed with a news alert. Bennett Industries signs historic contract with design powerhouse Studio Nova. Stock surges 20%. I smiled, opening my laptop to review the preliminary concepts my team had created. The old guard at Bennett Industries wouldn't know what hit them. We weren't just going to update their image. We were going to drag them into the future whether they were ready or not. 3 days later, I returned to find the office abuzz with excitement. Maya met me at the elevator with a tablet full of updates. The Bennett Industries contract is just the beginning, she grinned. We've had 12 major corporations reach out since the announcement. Apparently, being the agency that's revolutionizing one of the oldest industrial firms in the country is good for business. Schedule a team meeting, I said, heading to my office. It's time to expand. I want proposals for new offices in London, Tokyo, and Dubai by next week. Already in progress, Maya smiled. Oh, and your family's been calling. All of them. Apparently, Uncle Robert's country club friends are fighting over who gets to pitch their companies to us next. I logged into my computer, pulling up the latest designs for Bennett Industries transformation. Send them all to my assistant. Standard rates apply. No family discounts. Even for Aunt Patricia? She left 6 messages about her charity foundation needing a little logo refresh. I thought about all the times she'd dismissed my career as playing with computers. Especially for Aunt Patricia, I confirmed. And make sure she knows our minimum project fee is now 7 figures. The next family business meeting was scheduled for the following month. This time my name was at the top of the agenda. As I prepared my presentation, not just for Bennett Industries' rebrand, but for Studio Nova's global expansion plans, I thought about that small design studio I'd started 5 years ago. They'd called it a hobby, a phase, a waste of potential. Now they were calling it genius, innovative, revolutionary. But I hadn't changed. I'd simply waited for them to catch up to what I'd known all along. That in today's world, design isn't just about making things look pretty. It's about transforming how businesses connect with people, how brands evolve in a digital age, how companies survive in a rapidly changing marketplace. My assistant popped her head in. Your cousin Emma's on line 1. Something about her husband's startup needing a rebrand. I glanced at the wall of awards in my office, at the magazine covers featuring our work, at the stock tickers showing our clients' success. Tell her our waiting list is 6 months long, I replied. But she's welcome to fill out an application on our website. Just like everyone else. Sometimes success isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. And sometimes the best revenge isn't just succeeding, but succeeding so spectacularly that those who doubted you end up standing in line, waiting for a chance to be part of what they once mocked. As I prepared for my flight to London to open our new international headquarters, I couldn't help but smile at the irony. They'd laughed at my little design thing, never realizing that in today's world, design isn't just art, it's power. And I had built an empire with it. The story continued to unfold as Studio Nova's influence grew. At the next Bennett Industries board meeting, I wasn't seated at the far end of the table. I was presenting from the head position. My logo didn't just appear on their presentations anymore. It became the symbol of their unprecedented transformation. Uncle Robert eventually retired, and to everyone's surprise, the board approached me about joining as a strategic advisor. I declined politely, sending my CEO instead. I'm too busy revolutionizing global brands, I explained. The final irony came when Marcus enrolled in our newly established Studio Nova Academy, a training program teaching next-generation designers and brand strategists. He sat in the back row, taking notes as I delivered the keynote speech about disrupting traditional business models. My parents finally hung my framed Forbes cover in their living room, replacing the family portrait where they'd all worn matching suits. Our daughter, the design mogul, they now proudly told their friends. But the sweetest moment came when my youngest cousin, fresh out of art school, approached me at the next family gathering. They all say I'm wasting my time with digital art, she whispered. I handed her my card. Come see me Monday. Sometimes the biggest success stories start with someone telling you you're wasting your time. Because in the end it was never about the logos or the designs. It was about seeing the future while others clung to the past, about believing in your vision when everyone else saw only scribbles. And now they all wore my scribbles on their business cards, proud to be associated with the brand they once mocked.